Hey, what's up, guys? Coach Matt, Play Fast Football. I'm going to do a video today on what I'm going to be researching in the off season, and then I'm going to be interested in the comment section to hear what you guys are looking at researching in the off season on our Twitter chat last night on our Florida high school football Sunday night Twitter chat. I had another coach ask the question of what I was going to be looking into this off season, and it kind of sparked my interest to see what everybody else would be looking at this off season as well. Make sure you check out some of our sponsors, GameStrat. There'll be a description in the description box. Sorry, there'll be a link to their website, take you directly to their website. It's the sideline replay system we use. Absolutely love it. Difference USA, which is the ultimate striking machine. We have one in our weight room that we absolutely love. JustPlayFB is the digital software that I use to diagram plays and draw plays, and it's the only play drawing tool that I use. Defensive Coordinator 1, which is an in-game app that allows you to make critical in-game adjustments based on live in-game data. And then Dome Hats, which is one of our major sponsors here at Play Fast Football. Dome Hats is a local hat company in Northeast Florida that's starting to do more work across the country. They have an excellent online custom hat builder that you can go online and design and build your own hat. So make sure you check out Dome Hats. They will all be Dome Hats, Just Play, GameStrat, and Defensive Coordinator 1 will all be vendors at the Play Fast Football Clinic, the first Play Fast Football Clinic, which is January 24th, 25th, 26th, 2020 in St. Augustine, Florida. So make sure you check that out. I'll give you some information on that later as well. So as you get into the off season, it's one of my favorite times of year. Obviously, you get Thanksgiving holiday, Christmas holiday. It's a holiday season. It's a turn of a new year. Every new year you get new aspirations, maybe new goals, whether you make resolutions or not is up to you. But I think every time a new year turns over, especially as you get older, you've got some new goals and some new things that you're trying to do and you want to accomplish in your life. And as a football coach, it's a time where you get to reflect on all the things that you've done and then all the things that you need to do better. And then you get a chance to go out and research, whether it be clinics, whether it be visiting other high schools, visiting colleges, online research, all 22 film or game film from colleges, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it may be. There's so many outlets out there nowadays to help you get better as a football coach. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of take a look at what I am going to research in the off season. And then what I would like in the comments section is I would like you guys to comment on what you're going to be researching in the off season for your program or as an individual football coach. And then also in the comments section, I'd like you to leave some questions that you would like me to answer on future videos. So this is a chance for me to kind of go through what I want to look at and why I want to look at it, and a chance for you to then comment about what you want to look at and also what you would like me to talk about in future videos. All right, so first thing is going to be wide zone. Real simple reason. I think some of our perimeter runs became formationally dependent this year. I think wide zone is a play that can be run from 10 personnel or 20 personnel, possibly even 30 personnel. If you become a 21 team or you become a 12 team or you become an 11 team, I think it can be run out of all those formations. I think it's a play that is not formationally dependent. Unfortunately, I think it's a play that you've got to invest some time in to get really good at. But I'm at a point now with our offense where I think it's something that we need to do. So I will be investigating all the nuances to running wide zone. I've watched several Alex Gibbs videos, obviously maybe the godfather of wide zone stuff, and I've watched other cool clinic offensive line clinic videos and NFL guys on how they do it. So that's going to be one of my focal points in the off season is maybe talking to more guys that run it in high school and the things that you need to do to be successful in high school running wide zone. Going to take a big look at the screen game. We were absolutely awful throwing screens this year, and I feel like it was a big waste for us because I felt like we had some kids on the perimeter and in the backfield that could have been really, really good screen kids, and I just felt like we did a terrible job running screens and devoting time to screens and how we practiced them, how we ran them, how we blocked them, how we executed them. Just thought it was awful, so I am going to spend a lot of time this off-season researching the screen game. I'm currently looking at zone versus gap schemes, trying to figure out, asking other people in the business, other high school coaches, asking them what they think about zone schemes versus gap schemes, and if you were either an undersized or maybe an undermanned offensive line, to where maybe there are some things. Excuse me. Sorry, I got my radio on. I'm waiting on getting a visit from Liberty University with my kid that's signing at Liberty University, so I've got my radio on just in case they come while we're doing a video. If you had to choose between zone or gap schemes, and maybe you were outmanned at offensive line, maybe you play a few defensive linemen that are better players than your offensive line. Maybe you have a group coming up that's just undersized. I'm trying to figure out what is better for a team that maybe won't be dominant at offensive line. Are you better with zone schemes or are you better with gap schemes? Had a lot of people last night on the Twitter chat mention that they prefer gap schemes. They think gap schemes help linemen that may be a little bit undersized when helps maybe getting more double teams at the point of attack. Helps with the angles and maybe the leverage of some of those blocks. So I will be on a continuous journey to figure out what's better in high school football, zone schemes or gap schemes. And I think at the end of the day, you have to answer your own question. I think there's enough teams that win with both, but I think you have to be able to answer those questions on your own as a coach. Excuse me again. On your own as a coach, you got to answer those questions, and everybody's going to have their own answers. And there's a lot of good zone teams that win a lot of football games, and there's a lot of good gap teams that win a lot of football games. So I'm going to keep researching it for myself. It's something I want to do, and we've been mostly a gap team for the last probably 8 years or so, and with some 1 or 2 years sprinkled in when we ran inside zone and tried to run a little bit of outside zone. But we are predominantly, going back the last 8 years, made our living off of power counter, depending on the type of quarterback we have, power read, quarterback counter, and then our version of the duo play instead of inside zone. So it's always going to be, it's something I look at every year, but this year I'm really, really interested in looking at how people are doing things and seeing what they think is better at the high school level and at maybe in a program where you are not as talented up front, maybe as some other places. Going to continue my out front research. We went 3-3 stack. 2 years ago, we play it as a split field coverage deal. We play it as a 6-man box deal, similar to a 4-2-5 structure. It's been very good to us the last 2 years. Our numbers in the run game, our production in the run game increased by probably 60 to 70%, where we did some really, really good things in the run game. Our run fits were 100 times better. We simplified some things, and it was something that helped us the last 2 years. But with that being said, I've had a Division I defensive end, as I mentioned earlier. He's going to sign with Liberty, and we're waiting on Liberty to do an in-school visit with us today, and that's why I had my radio with me. There's no doubt that kid, the last 3 years for me, since his 10th grade year and the end of his 9th grade year, there's no doubt that kid made a lot of plays. There's no doubt that kid was a special player. There's no doubt that he did some things that helped our scheme. So I'm really interested next year. This is the 3rd year we're going to be doing it. It's not new anymore. People know we're in it. I think people now know, watching film, how we try to fit runs, 1- and 2-back runs. So going into year 3, I think I'm going to need some wrinkles. I think I'm going to need some nuances to add to it. And I'm just interested in odd front football in general. I think it's something that is becoming a little bit more prevalent. More stand-up players on the back end, more hybrid linebacker safety types on the back end. That's the way football's going. That's the way we've been playing it for a little while. So I will continue my odd front research. I want to look more into effective practice plans, trying to find teams that are similar to us and how they practice if you got guys that have to play both ways. I think everybody has their idea of what a practice plan should look like, and you go to places and everybody talks about, hey, how do you do inside run, and how do you do 7-on-7, and how do you do scale or pass pro, or I don't know if there is an ideal practice plan for every school, especially at the high school level, but I'm interested in kind of, and this is one of the things that my research will probably stick to high school football, because I can go to college and watch how they practice, but if I don't have that staff and I don't have guys that are playing only offense, only defense, and maybe guys that are only kickers and snappers or whatever you may have at the Division I level, I can go there and check that out. It's not going to hurt me. The more you learn, the better you are. But at the same time, I think you have to understand that our game is high school. I want to go visit more high school guys and talk to them about how they practice, especially guys that are in our boat, that play some guys both ways, that are tempo teams that are trying to maximize an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours on the practice field. Where do you incorporate special teams? So I'm kind of interested in checking some teams out and talking to some people on Twitter and other people on, that watch this channel. How do you guys practice? What's been best for you? So that's going to be up for discussion coming up. All right, and then for me, this may not be a research topic that I have to go out and find, but finding players' roles on my team. I want to look at the returning players that I have on my team. And November and December are big months for me, finding the identity of my players, because when the season just ends and you're not really into your off-season program yet, that's when I think you start to find your leaders and the kids that you want to lean on, because those are the kids that you don't have to ask to lift. Those are the kids you don't have to beg to lift. If you do have the weight room open after school, those are the kids that are coming on their own to lift. So this is in November and December, and I try to explain this to some of my assistant coaches. This is when I kind of reel back a little bit. I want to rest a little bit from the rigors of running a football program year long. I want to go home early some days. I don't want to be here till 5 o'clock every day, and I don't necessarily force our guys to lift right now. I sit back and kind of watch in my classes who does the workout without being told, who does the workout and who does everything they're supposed to do. I sit back and I observe that, because that to me is going to tell me the kids that I can count on, all right, when it comes to next season. Anybody that I have to ask to lift, anybody that I have to force to lift, anybody that I have to motivate to lift is probably somebody that I really don't want to count on as a leader, and maybe not as a big-time player in the program. The guys that do things on their own are the ones that I want to count on. So this is a time for me in November and December where I kind of sit back and observe. I run my classes. My workouts are on the board. Yes, we're still trying to, start our off-season program. But for us, my off-season program doesn't officially start till about January 20th. So, this is a time where I just sit back and watch. And I watch how the kids react. I watch how they behave. I watch who comes after school. I let two of my assistant coaches run after school. They add workouts on the board and things that they want to do with kids that are coming in. And I just sit back and watch. And really what I'm trying to find is who my leaders are going to be, who my hardest workers are going to be, who can I sink my teeth into and say, hey, that kid is going to be here. He's going to work hard. I want to play him at this position. And then who those kids won't be. All right? And then on top of that, from the players that we do know that will be here and that started for us last year, what roles do we find for them on the football team? All right? For argument's sake, at linebacker, I might have some linebackers that aren't really good understanding multiple coverages, but they're really physical and they play the game the way you would want it to be played from a physicality standpoint. They just may not be, the football IQ type that you're looking for at linebacker. Do they become defensive ends? Do you move their position? Depending on how you play your coverages in your defense, for us in our 3-3 stack, our Mike linebacker is more of a spy add-on guy, and our other two linebackers are more coverage guys. So now when we send a fourth rusher, the last year we sent a fourth from the stack position, and we didn't really send a Mike unless it was a 5 or a 6-man pressure. Well, this year coming up, the Mike linebacker I have, I might want to add him as my fourth rusher every time that we add a fourth rusher, because I think it fits him better. Which kids do I want to be the leaders in the secondary? Who do I want calling the coverages as a free safety? All right? Which kids are physical enough to be down safeties? Which corners maybe get better in the weight room to become safeties? Which wide receivers can't get on the field at wide receiver? Maybe we can make corners. Which corners can't get on the field and maybe we can make receivers? Which offensive linemen that aren't going to start at offensive line, maybe we can make nose guards? So for me, all right, my research in my own program is going to be finding the roles that my kids can play, finding my leaders, finding the guys that we can really lean on to be big-time players in our program that we put a lot on their plate, and then finding the guys that are really good football players that we need to take things off their plate and let them play football in a manner that they can play it to their best ability. Because you're going to have that in any program, I don't care what the level is, but especially in high school, you're going to have kids that are really good football players. They just don't need a lot on their plate. They don't need multiple reads. They don't need multiple assignments. They don't need multiple responsibilities in pass coverage. They need 2 to 3 to 4 things that they can look at on every play, all right, probably one thing that they can look at with two things that they may have to do, and let them do that as aggressively and as violently as possible because they're good at doing that. All right? I've had players like that my entire career. I have some like that coming back next year. So my job is I have to find a role and put those players in that role. Don't put a kid in a situation that he can't handle and then wonder why he's not playing good football when you know he can't handle it. All right? So put the kids in situations that you feel that they can be successful at. That'll be my number 6 is really, that's my job here with my assistant coaches and the members of my staff. That's our job together. We really don't have to go out to research that. We need to research that on our own through the offseason, through development in the offseason, through on-field behavior last year and on-field results last year. Who is now going to develop into the positions next year that are not only starters but players that we count on? Who are we going to try and feed the ball to a bunch? And that happens in the offseason, watching your kids lift, watching voluntary workouts, seeing who shows up, watching their attitude and behavior in November and December when the season just ends, seeing how kids compete in other sports. All right, so number 6 for me is research that I have to do inside of my own program. So in the comments section, feel free to talk about what you're going to research, all right, what you're going to look at this offseason, and also feel free to comment about things you would like me to talk about in future videos, topics you would like me to discuss in future videos. Remember that next month, January 24th, 25th, 26th, first ever Play Fast Football Clinic in St. Augustine, Florida, at the Embassy Suites, right on the ocean. Got a great speaker lineup. If you're looking to start your off-season the right way, if you're a fan of Play Fast Football and things that I've done on this channel, I have selected all the speakers with a friend of mine who is helping me run the clinic. We are two guys that feel like we know what we need in a clinic. We know who will be good speakers. So I personally, along with some help from a friend of mine, have selected the speakers. I think we got a great lineup. I think we have high school orientated guys. I think we've got a great setup with a social on Friday night and a lunch on Saturday. I think the Embassy Suites is a great site. If you book at the Embassy Suites, all right, 4 guys can stay in a room, made to order breakfast every night you're there, and they have a 2-hour happy hour for every night that you're a guest at the bar, along with our social, along with our lunch. I think it's a great setup. Local sports company Baker Sporting Goods is one of our sponsors. Dome Hats is one of our sponsors. Score Fundraising is one of our sponsors. So we think we've got a good event with some good vendors and some really good speakers. If you're into clinics, I think you're going to love it. Check it out, www.playfastfbclinic.com. That's www.playfastfbclinic.com. Check out the website, check out the speakers, check out the hotel, register. If you want to be a vendor, check it all out. It's all on that website. I appreciate everything you guys do. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. Put the bell on for notifications so that you know every time I do a video. Like or thumbs up or thumbs down, like or dislike the video. Any interaction in the video is good. And as always, any comments that are out there, I'm going to respond to. This video especially because I want to know not only what you're researching, but I want to know what videos you want to see in the future. All right? I appreciate everything you guys have done for me for the last 7 years. Remember, won't play well until you play fast. I'll see you guys next time.